we painfully observe where we are weak, lacking, or failing. God sees all that too, but He doesn't consider it all bad. For example, God sees your weakness as an opportunity for you to trust Him to be strong in you. Your weakness, surrendered to God, enables you to gain strength from Him beyond anything you could ever have without Him. God sees whatever you lack as a possibility that you will turn to Him and declare your dependence on Him so He can supply all your needs. God sees your failure as an invitation for you to walk closely with Him, so He can empower you to accomplish what you couldn't begin to do on your own. If you're not certain about all of this, then I invite you to seek God beyond what you ever have before and come to know Him better. The better you know who God really is, the more you will recognize how much you need Him. And needing Him is always a good thing. Understanding God's perspective. The more we seek to know God in greater depth, the more He shows us about Himself. When we truly open up to God and invite Him to reveal Himself to us, He will do that. And this is something we must do, for we will never know who we really are until we understand who He really is. God also shows us the truth about ourselves when we ask Him to do so. That can seem daunting, but don't let the idea scare you. The good news is He doesn't let us see everything at once, both about Him and about ourselves, which would be overwhelming in either case. He lets us see a little at a time as we seek Him. If you have a heart that longs to know the truth and yearns for a way to become all you were created to be, spend time with God every day getting to know Him. Truly understanding His amazing goodness, holiness, perfection, and love is healing for your soul. It also exposes any lack of goodness, holiness, perfection, and love in you. But don't be afraid of that. He doesn't expose these things to shock or demean you. He does it to let you know that He loves you enough to not leave you the way you are. He wants you to become all He created you to be, even more than you do, because His desire is for you to live in a way that opens you to the countless blessings He has for you. From God's perspective, He sees all you will be missing if you don't seek His presence and His will in your life. Even when we think we have walked with the Lord long enough to have taken care of most of our imperfections, we find there is always more work to be done on a deeper level. That's why we can never assume we are beyond our weakest tendencies, or that we can make it through a day without total dependence on God and His Spirit in us, enabling us to be the person He created us to be. God wants us to become more like Him every day. Notice I did not say we become God. I said we become more like God. The truth is, we all need to be changed. God said we are made in His image, but He wants us to become partakers of His, quote, divine nature, end quote, 2 Peter 1:4. That means opening our heart to God and allowing Him to mold and expand it so that we can contain more of His character. How does that happen? That question will be answered as you read this book. For now, just know that God wants you to become more like Him. He wants you to not only see what needs to be changed, but also to see yourself through His eyes of love. God is lovingly forgiving, something a magnifying mirror is not. With all that said, a few years back I was reading through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, as is my habit to do every couple of years, and on one particular day I was starting at 1 Corinthians 13. I had read that passage countless times before and knew it was the chapter on love. In fact, it was so familiar to me that I had many of the verses memorized, just from reading them over and over. And anyone who is married will find themselves